for the wild ones wake. Your shadow at my heel, my hand on a glowing shard. They come with burning eyes, we come with steady breath. One for the run and fight, one for the line between life and death. No one stands alone here, not when the dark comes down. I call your name, you turn and shake the ground. Ranger and Illuvium, side by side we survive. Ranger and Illuvium, you and me alive tonight. We don't just fight, we rise as one. Ranger and Illuvium, till the battle's done. I raised you from a spark, from a tremor in the stone. Fed you through the long cold, taught through the path back home. You were never just a blade, never just a beast to tame. You learned my fear, my hope, and you answered when I called your name. No one stands alone here, not when the ground breaks loud. I reach, you lead, we move like thunder in a crowd. Ranger and Illuvium, side by side we survive. Ranger and Illuvium, you and me alive tonight. We don't just fight, we rise as one. Ranger and Illuvium, till the battle's done. When the world goes thin and the sky turns hot and cold, I feel your heart beat near, braver than gold. Take the world, take the flame, take the fear and leave it behind. If they come for our future, they'll have to face both sides. Ranger and Illuvium, side by side we survive. Ranger and Illuvium, you and me alive tonight. We don't just fight, we rise as one. Ranger and Illuvium, till the battle's done. We lie together, we survive together. Ranger and Illuvium, side by side we survive. Bulwarks took the front line, science held the back. Ropes slid in like razors, cut the whole squad stack. Steel on the sand, hands full of grit. We tried to hold the choke point, but they broke through it. Shield walls cracking, minds running hot. Every lane was burning, every call got shot. A pistol stayed silent, eyes on the flare. One last card in the dark, one last breath in the air. Electrolyte, strike free. They had us counted out, they had us on the floor. Then the last round came and opened every door. Blue white fade in motion, ripping through the night. Rogues fell all at once when the link locked tight. Electrolyte, last hand, last flame. Electrolyte, carved off Fisto's name. Bulwarks down, John's torn, still we took the crown. Electrolink, pull the whole fight down. Get down, eyes up, we came to play. One last hit, then we all say, close by close, we hold our line. Steel in the breath and fire in the mind. No empty throne, no lone wolf run. Every hard round brings us as one. Hear that shout, it rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole room grow. Stand as one, stand as one. Close battle, still we come. Stand as one, stand as one. We fight hard, then we build this home. Stand as one, stand as one. Every hand keeps lifting someone. Stand as one, stand as one. We play for the league, we play for the bond. Quick right turn and near miss spark. One clean break, then back to the dark. Tiny margins, big brave hearts. One shared win from a dozen starts. New names, old friends, same battle cry. We learn your moves and we cheer you by. When the dust sets, we stay in the ring. Win or lose, we still fear that shout. It rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole room grow. Stand as one, stand as one. Close battle, still we come. Stand as one, stand as one. We fight hard, then we build this home. Stand as one, stand as one. Every hand keeps
Alright, hello, welcome everybody to Illuvium Arena House League. Here we go. Once a week, of course, every single time, our most dedicated and some of our best players across all of the Illuvium universe coming in for a friendly community competition of sorts, where I split all the players up based off of divisions, based off of their collection score, how big their collection is, how leveled it is, trying to make the closest possible matches that we can get here within the community, and then having some Illuvials as potential prizes at the very, very end of the day. We have a nice set of lobbies. It's a little bit of a quieter week, I'm not going to lie, but we still have plenty of action that will be coming around in just a few minutes, of course. To line up and see who we have coming on through here for today. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. Of course, I didn't even give you the flashbang warning this time. Sorry about that, y'all. But we have starting us off, it's going to be the Carablu Cup, our division of newcomers, looking to level up their squad, maybe find a couple extra pieces that they're missing to their collection here today. Robert Tacho and Ethan, that's the tried and true here for the Carablu Cup. Those two going at it basically months after months at this point here. But now joining them is Awake Darkness, or now known as Awaken, from Mad Dogs. Mad Dogs picking up a couple players over the last couple of days. So I'm looking to see how that entails here with the new team, because I used to only know Mad Dogs because of Hector. Now it seems like it's growing ever so slightly. We do have Lynx League coming on through again. This is some of our players that are a little bit more experienced, but might not just have those level 60s or that complete collection just yet. And we're going to be seeing, of course, Coyote Hype. We have Vermin Bond, also known as Bond Daddy Ratty's second account. We are going to have Hunter, or Illuvium Hunter is what we used to know him by, but now it's Hunter from Mad Dogs. Kira and Matter One, two players that showed up this last 3 or 4 weeks or so, looking to absolutely make a dent here into the Lynx League. They showed up into Carablu Cup, absolutely smashed it, and now we're looking forward to seeing how they can perform here in Lynx League. And then Mothpuck, or Monster, also now here for Mad Dogs. So there we go, another Mad Dog coming on through. Then we do have the last match of the day, the Monarch Masters main event. We are going to have, I believe, currently either second or third on the leaderboards. Badul is going to be joining us alongside Hector from Mad Dogs. We've got Kirito Hype. We've got Thanatos. We got Texan. We have Zico Perico, which I feel like it's been a little while since I got to see Zico Perico in action. And similar nature here for Nick Hype. So looking forward to a fantastic set of matches coming on through in just a couple of minutes time. We sent out the lobby code here for the Carablu Cup, and I do believe they're all locked and loaded and ready to go. So we're going to get started with that in just a second. Give us about 5 seconds to know that I'm actually going to do it, and then we'll get into the game. Gonna fire off the lobby now for y'all. Good luck, have fun. And while we're loading in, 2 things to take note of. First and foremost, good to see everybody here in the chat. While I do cast this like this is an esports event, at the same time, it's all about the community interaction. I love seeing whether you're competing or whether you're just watching, who you're rooting for, who do you think is going to win, all that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear all about it. If you have any questions about the games, by all means, fire it off as well. As much as this is like a semi-competitive, casual competitive kind of scene, this is also meant to be a community building, learning experience for everybody as well. While there is prizes, I like keeping a very loose and casual vibe to the event at the exact same time. It's not full on like playing for $1 million here, but we're still going to try our hardest no matter what. Who let the dogs out? Apparently there's a few of them now here. But yeah, we got Awake, or I was going to say Awake Darkness, but Awake from Mad Dogs. We've got Hector in here, Big Man JB, Badul, Kirito, Monster, Ethan, Kevin Hawthorne. Good to see all of you. I don't think I've missed anybody, right? If I did, I'm so sorry. But the other thing I want to note while we are loading into our game is this game. We did get an announcement from Illuvium like a half hour before we actually went live here, and that is in regards to the Obelisk Rising playtest. They are looking to get a few more players, it looks like, before they start off the alpha. So it's going to be in 2 phases, it looks like. where one is more of a specifically a QA specific thing, trying to find the bugs, trying to find all the jank. But then phase 2, a little bit bigger, but more so of a like true on playtest, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Of course, application in this Discord post as well. At the end of the stream, I'll make sure to have this in the link. So if you're watching this later on, I'll make sure to have that there. But yeah, it seems like the Obelisk Rising playtest is coming upon us sometime very, very soon. And you know, if there's the opportunity to stream it, I'll be right there. No matter what, I'm going to be playtesting. Or if I'm invited, that is, of course, duh. If I get invited, I'm going to be playtesting no matter what. But if I have the opportunity to stream it, you damn well know that I will. I don't want to make the mistake like last time where we streamed once on a Monday and then all of a sudden the playtest ended later that week and I didn't get much of it. So I don't want to make that mistake again. But without further ado, let's get into our first game of the day. This one that works? Nope, none of them are going to work for me today. Interesting. All right. Here we are, Illuvium Arena House League, Week 19. We are going to be getting started off with our Carablu Cup. We have 3 out of 8 players here today, including the tried and true battle between our 2 long-standing Carablus, Ethit and Robert Tacho. But then now, additionally, coming on through here today, we will have Awaken from Mad Dogs. It should be a fun one here. Last time, I believe it was Ethit that did end up taking it. I can consult my records to just be sure that I'm not giving you the wrong information. Actually, no, I would be giving you the wrong information because, of course, the last time we had Carablu Cup last week, it was Perry, the developer for Illuvium, that did end up getting the win. We did also have Ballistics in second, and Ethit ended up getting third, but still, this is looking to be a very, very close battle. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes, as we see Ethit and Robert Tacho going to be battling it out nice and early. And while they do that, I do want to take a look at some of the weapons we do have coming on through this time by for the players. Awaken, going to be picking up the title shift, probably one of the stronger rogue weapons of this patch. Ethit, tried and true, going for air. It's not the bow, but it's still the arrow edge. And with that arrow edge, they are going to be able to absolutely tear through Robert Tacho to start things off. Granted, at the same time, there was the level difference there for Ethit, level 4 compared to level 3. And then Robert Tacho, going to be picking up the Ember Buckler. That is your fire bulwark weapon. And I did learn over the last couple of days, like I was asking Robert Tacho, it's like, I want to send Illuvials through the community rescue to try and build your team, but I genuinely don't know what you're trying to main right now. What are you trying to improve? How can I help you? And they unironically are really enjoying Shock, which, while you can go off the tier lists and see that Shock is probably one of, if not the worst performing synergy out there as of this moment, I understand it's a hell of a lot of fun. So, seeing the weapon currently that Robert Tacho does have in play, we could very well potentially see Shock. You could potentially turn this into Inferno as well. Heck, mix them if things go your way. We'll have to see. But again, this does leave you susceptible to early damage because you're trying to save up for a very quick level 5, or not a level 5 push, but a quick roll down at level 5. But the way that they're kind of building as of this moment, the Greater Monkier, Greater Apon, if there be a world where maybe we splash Mud and Shock into the same team, we'll have to see. Awake Darkness, or Awaken, is going to be picking up a little bit more of a traditional style here. Double Lynx is on board. Low level, but not anywhere near low in regards to the TPI on those big time stats there for Awaken. And now that the Nimble Lynx is here, look at that damage. Good attack damage and attack speed onto that fella. Got the Revo coming on through here as well, so setting up rather nicely for a rogue-based team. And considering Awaken's been playing alongside Mad Dogs, again, we have actually Hector in the chat right here, right now, who is very, very strong at playing rogue compositions. I imagine just a couple of tips might help push other players into the right direction and get them going. So, Got someone to look up to, and heck, even Exalted Fire Valente coming on through here for Awaken. So a couple of fantastic things going their way here to start things off, potentially getting their first win if things all go their way. Going up against one of the bots right here, right now, and there's just enough firepower, actually a significant amount of firepower, to convincingly be able to blow up the bot this time by. So Awaken looking very good right now to start things off. We hop on over to Ethan and see what they're cooking up as we're right around the corner from another NPC round. But first off, Ethan versus Awaken. So first and second currently in this game as it stands. We do see the Exalted Earth Grocco coming on through here. Level 40 is a little bit in the middle of the road in regards to its stats, but it's got some HP to it, so as a tank, that's all you need. Alongside this beautiful Axon, level 51, been grinding with this fella, very, very nice. But how about the rogues? We're going to be diving on into Ethan here in just a second. This is not 7, we got 6 rogues. Let's see how it goes. Going to be diving directly into the double tank line, but the Lynx got left out to dry, so the Grocco actually going to get the finishing blow onto that one. And importantly here for the rogues, the T-Ruro went down while its boost was still active. It did not get the full value of its initial boost, so this is looking pretty good here for Ethan, but you cannot sleep on the Ranger with the Tidal Shiv. Of course, that thing can essentially turn your Ranger into a carry by itself. And that could be scary, but it looks like Ethan going to be able to clean things up. Blazin, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Is that Awaken Darkness? Yes, Awake Darkness 69 has now changed their tag over to Awaken and is now a part of the team Mad Dogs. So Awaken Mad Dogs. I guess Awake Darkness 69.Mad Dogs would be a little bit big for a username. So I like the shortened form here. Absolutely. Ethan going up against a bot, Awaken up against a bot. So let's ride along here with Robert Tacho for a second, because I'm so curious to see what they're thinking here. They like their shock, but they actually have the remnants here of potentially mud. The augments didn't necessarily go their way, but they still have a big old monkey on the front line just doing so much damage alongside the fire units. That is actually a ridiculous amount of damage, and that might be the fastest I've ever seen somebody snag one of these Exalted Monkeers. So finding the big carry of the Mud Squad already, and it's almost level 50, so this thing's got some power. Look at offensively as well. Very, very strong Monkeer. They do also have the app on, so Mud is already online. Of course, Mud 4 is the huge power spike, because that's when Mud units die, they eventually spread their stats to the other units. We'll have to see. The one thing that definitely sucks right now here for not Darkness, but for Robert Tacho, is Omega Power on a Monkeer is essentially not going to do much, because the Superior Smash here for the Exalted Monkeer, this is just a passive, and the Omega Power doesn't do that much. You'd obviously want something a little bit safer, a Bruiser Augment, or an offensive augment in terms of physical damage. But we'll have to see how it goes versus the Rogue Squad here from Awaken. Big stun coming on through from the Appon, doing a ton of disruption, but at the same time, the Monkeer is kind of getting focused down by the Ranger, so it's not been able to really hit any of those juicy DPS targets. It looks like actually the Gorilla is going to come on over for the assist, but it's too late. The Monkeer does go down. Very close battle here between Awaken and Robert Tacho. I think that Robert Tacho might just barely go down thanks to that Revo from Awaken. Barely going to be able to hang on there. Two very, very low health units on that one, but the Revo standing tall rather nicely here. Awaken going to get a little bit of a win streak going, but currently at the top of the board, it shall be Ethan sitting pretty. Over 100 credits like we see them do when they're comfortable. This is exactly what they do. Load up on a ton of credits and just wait for the late game. The one thing I didn't mention, though, is the region that we're on. Of course, you can kind of take a look just in regards to the battle board itself as to where we're at, but this is Halcyon Sea. And this one in particular is in regards to your win streak. So the fact that Ethan, for instance, is on such an incredible win streak already, they are just getting that much richer every single round. So the longer this can continue, the better here. But even Awake, I keep wanting to say Awake Darkness, but even Awaken still wants or is still on a win streak for a little bit. So they're going to be gaining a piece of that. Of course, the reverse is potentially true as well. Lose streaking is something that you can unironically do in a handful of auto battlers, and it's no different here in Illuvium. But of course, it's a very risky play. You are going to be sacrificing a ton of health. And at least it's not Crimson Waste. Around 13 is when we usually start to see a handful of players start to roll down big time. Robert Tacho, one Grilla away from potentially scoring 4 mud. But by doing so, they are going to be at a very low level in regards to their player level. We see the bot that they're going up against, for instance, is level 8. So there's a lot of Illuvials that Robert Tacho is going to have to try and plow through. But so far, that Monk gear looks like it's doing some serious work here, over 6,000 very early into this fight. And might have the level disadvantage, but does not matter. These units are just that much stronger. As the Ador falls, Robert Tacho going to break the lose streak and keep themselves above 50. Yes, of course, one thing to note as well, this is, I believe, the first House League that we're going to be having on the latest patch, or the newest patch. We did see a handful of swings. While water did get a little bit of a nerf, it is still very, very good. But a couple of players are still pushing it pretty hard, including, looks like Ethit. Or I say pushing water very hard, but actually this is Earth and Granite. But I saw the Axodon, and I assumed they were going for water or tsunami. But look at the rest of the board. That could not be further from the truth. We do currently have Dust potentially online here. No, the Ranger's Dust, but not anything else, it looks like. So Granite is going to be the choice here, since we do have some chips coming into play. We got a Behemoth chip onto an Exalted Appon. That might be the first time I've ever seen that. Let's see how this goes. Ethit versus Robert Tacho. The 3 mud is currently online, but the weapon, of course, for the Ranger is going to stop the potential for mud for at least a little bit. I don't think there's a weapon around anytime soon either. So, not going to be at the perfect case scenario, but still rather strong nonetheless. The Monk gear got completely stuck on the Exalted Earth Graco, which means I believe Ethit should be able to clean on through, unless somehow this Appon and Grilla and the little Verminio can turn this around. But that Axodon is firing off shields like it's nobody's business, and as that ends up falling, as the Verminio falls, that will be it for the Illuvials. Robert Tacho in a valiant effort, but is going to go down to 46 this time by. Ethit did lose their win streak, but they are still up there rather nicely. All right, Awaken, what are you cooking now? It's been a little bit since we hopped on in here with you. A little bit less focused on the 7 rogue side of things, but instead making sure that Revenant is online. We do see Dust Revenant in play, giving me flashbacks of when they actually patched the game and claimed that it was, or they changed a bunch of systems and called it better for onboarding. Meanwhile, Dust Revenant became like easily the most toxic team composition in the entire game. Did everybody like not being able to have their team play the battle for about 9 seconds? Yeah, I didn't. But thankfully, that did get fixed up here, and it's looking like it does not matter which version of Revenant we have. It's going to be Awaken with a very, very nice win. Ethit also still in action here. Some of the bots getting a little bit tough here, including Jump Scare Adorito. That actually might get the better of Ethit this time by. The bot, the Adorito with the Templar imprint, oddly enough, making it rather nice the longer that fight went on. So the bot, of course, going to get the better of Ethit here right now, but again, that is not something to scoff at. Bots are actually ridiculously strong right now in the current state of the Illuvium Arena. And now we have Robert Tacho down towards the bottom. They went in for the all-in onto the mud, but the weapon was not there to help support it. So where they pivot from here is anybody's guess. They are still level 5. They did hit the Riley, so that's one of the shock units that can come into play. But this is risky as can be, especially if they have no credits. Yeah, they've spent everything they have in the bank to get a very aggressive composition. Let's see if they can hold up against the bot and stop the bleeding ever so slightly. They absolutely blew up that corner with the help of that Verminio, so that was actually a pretty solid setup, all things considered. And Robert Tacho might be finding the power spike they're looking for. My goodness. And how many are they away from finding maybe the TB Ruko? There's 2 Roos away, it looks like. So very close, all things considered. Yeah, this could be 3 Mud, 2 Shock, technically, if that Ranger was paired up with the Verminio. I still find it very interesting as well with the Behemoth chip onto the Exalted app-on. I mean, it does have the range, so that can still be very much so a nuisance. And then, yeah, if this team actually gets the chance to pop off, it is really fun. And sure enough, Robert Tacho does call it out. They did make the switch over to Shock. So, yeah, you're stealing stats. You have a decent amount of tank and damage alongside some more damage here with Shock. It's a very interesting build, but curious to see if they'll be able to hang on. But this is a live battle between our 2 top real players as of this moment in terms of HP, with Awaken currently on a massive win streak. And we saw the Granite Imprint coming in onto that Axodon, just making that thing super, super tanky. And then the Revenant chip is actually onto the Nimble Lynx here for Awaken. So this will be a tough one, all things considered. There is now 7 rogues on the board here for Awaken, maximizing the amount of crit chance that you do end up getting, while also getting some crit amp, making those crits hit that much harder. And of course, the 3 Revenants coming on through. Which one are they missing? They're just missing Verminio, actually, which is very hittable. Then 4 Revenants could very well be a thing here for Awaken. But let's see how this goes versus Ethit. Here comes the AC-130. Arctase to the skies, gets charmed before the Pyro Fields could actually hit anything. So it's going to be shut down in its tracks here. Arctase, while not a rogue naturally, can absolutely dive in and try to support them. It's the Monarch where things get very rogue-like. But so far, that Axodon just held the line so damn well. This is still a very close battle. In fact, all the damage is gone here for Ethit. Awaken all the way up to level 9. Barely will go down. Ethit with the support line alongside the tank going to be able to hang on. Keep themselves in this game above 50, knocking the win streak away from Awaken. Pretty solid, all things considered. Credits-wise, though, Awaken still currently in 70. Ethit still has plenty in the bank here as well. 99 currently in the bank. In fact, what are these 2 playing? Everybody's playing a bot this round, it looks like. And Robert Tacho, how many Roo Cubs are they away from potentially getting it? 1 more Roo Cub away. How many people are contesting them for it? It does not look like too many players actually went in deep onto finding Roos. Awaken just has enough to score the Revenant, I believe. So the chances are still there. Robert Tacho just naturally going to get up all the way to level 6. And thankfully here for them, after this round, we do have an NPC round to get a bunch more credits, and then there's a weapon round. If they potentially want to swap over to maybe try 4 Mud instead, there very well could be a way to do so. But even still, the 3 Mud with Shock is still very effective, at least right now. Though when we start playing some players a little bit further along, say level 9 or something, I don't think it is going to be a great situation, all things considered. And I might have gotten baited out a little bit. I saw the icon here for the drone and thought it was an NPC round, but nope, this is actually a live battle. We do have Ethit versus Robert Tacho. Stabbin getting picked up here for Ethit, oddly enough, even though this isn't necessarily a fully loaded rogue kind of build. It's a little bit of a mixture down the road, more so just Dust Granite with plenty of tankiness. Let's see how this goes. The Exalted Monk here is going to be essentially tanking directly in the front lines. It's going to try its best to blow up that Grocko, but a good stun from the Grocko will slow them down just a bit. Here comes the shot from the Verminio. It's not going to do much damage, but of course that does sap away your Omega power as well. So this is just an absolute stat-sucking squad coming out here from Robert Tacho, but the damage is gone. It's all onto the Appon, who has a bunch of augments for damage, and to be fair, it does do some decent damage, but unfortunately, it doesn't come out anywhere quick enough. So Ethan gonna get the win, knocking Robert Tacho down to within kill shot. We do see some weapon changes coming on through here. Robert Tacho does pick up the Lava Gauntlet. So where can we go from here? As of right now, it looks like it's set up for Enchanter Shock. However, where is the Enchanter? It's not going to show up, at least as of this moment. Very tense scenario. Only 10 seconds to be able to turn this one around. Or to get set up, rather, for this round. Otherwise, Robert Tacho might be out of here a little bit early. Trying to make this shock, trying to make the mud style work. I absolutely adore it. Can it hold the line? There comes the shock. Some really early kills in this portion, but look at the Monkeyer. It's being focused down a little bit. A good shock coming on through, though, actually gets a lot of the Illuvials that have the attention of the Monkeyer away. And with that, we are going to lose many of the bots. Multi-kill, you can say here. So Robert Tacho going to get all the way up from, say, 6th or 5th or something along those lines, all the way up into guaranteed 4th. And Ethit's going up against one of the other bots here as well. This ends up being a very, very long battle, actually. But it looks like Ethit, alongside that newly fully evolved Mammoth, is coming on through. The Harbinger squad is going to be able to hold off the bot. So there we go. Our final three, all three of our players. Multi-kill, exactly. Multi-kill! Anyone from Halo or even Unreal Tournament. Certain sound bites just stay stuck in your head. Alright, now with this, let's see the landscape of this match. And this is the weird thing now for Robert Tacho, right? Because they've gotten plenty of powerful Illuvials and even some interesting synergies. But they're level 6 compared to level 9 for both Ethit and Awaken. That is essentially a worst case scenario. Even if they do manage to hit this damn TB Ruko, which has been eluding them for so long, essentially none of them are gone yet. Or actually, no, take a look at Awaken, actually. There are a bunch of them on the other side. I did not even notice. Let's flip the battle. There's yet another T-Ruro. There's another T-Ru. So trying to actually hit that fully loaded shock is just going to be so difficult. Tacho going up against the Ghost. We'll see if they can hang on in just a second, but I also want to see the live battle between Ethit and Awaken. Awaken does now have 8 Rogue with 3 Revenant. The Dust's going to fly here in just a second as well. But look at that Axodon. It's going to be able to hold the line rather nicely, even up against the face of that Penguin, which is definitely a big deal. Once Riptorus gets onto that Penguin, it's gone. That's pretty significant. Look at the just healthy Illuvials coming on through here for Ethit. Level 10 as well. Heck, even the Furiox getting involved in the front lines, but it's not getting touched whatsoever. This is looking good for Ethit, and we will lose Robert Tacho. They'll be out of here in 3rd place. GG's, and especially compared to last couple weeks where you were trying Shock or Mud there, Robert Tacho, it does seem like the team has gotten stronger. Compared to the last couple weeks where you're in 7th or 8th, you're all the way up to 3rd now. You're making progress. Keep pushing. Even though the team comps might be going up against you, if you enjoy it, keep doing it, by all means. Which brings us to some heads-up final showdown Illuvium here this time. Awaken, still 60 credits left in the bank, so a little bit of wiggle room to maybe hit level 10, maybe find something to evolve. What are they looking at in terms of upgrades? Well, how about the doggy? The Umber going to be coming on through. That is a big pickup, and we do now have the Verminio here. This is 4 Revenant plus Vanguard now that Malura is here. This is essentially one of the scariest rogue builds that you can currently use. The only thing that's missing is slashing. But is there just enough beef here on the side of Ethan to hold this off and still do damage. It looks like the Harbingers have fallen, actually. But actually, never mind, the Mammoth is still there, but it needs a Fantastic and Scissorize quickly, and that Omega does not come out very quickly at all. Awaken, potentially within a position to set up for their very, very first Illuvium Arena House League victory. They found a lot of the pieces that they are looking for. Heck, they're right around the corner from maybe even upgrading a Lynx. No, they have to take the Lynx off for now. That's fair. But the fact that Slashin is just so far away is going to be problematic. And Ethan did pick up a bunch of them as well, so they are going to be contested. Here we go. Depending on how this goes, how many Illuvials are left on the board, this could very well be the final battle here for our Carablu Cup matchup. But let's take a look. That poor little Caradulo going to get immediately shredded in between an Umber and a Stab-In. That's not a good place you want to be. But tried to hold the line for at least a little bit here. Revo doing a good job of holding up the corner. There is the Rampite doing some decent damage into the corner, but it's going to rely once again onto that Mammoth to try and defend. It does get some decent damage done on that first fling, but I don't think they're going to be tanky enough to actually hold this. Awaken, is that enough to kill off Ethan? That's a lot of Illuvials still on the field. Not yet. We have one more try. I think for both of them, one more try, and they are all completely broke. The upgrades that can happen as of this moment for Awaken, nothing left. They cannot really sell anything to try and get that Rampfire. Ethan, what do they have on the bench, though? We could potentially see Scoriox. We could potentially see Gazatep. It looks like over here. They are 1 away from the Gazatep, 2 away from the Scoriox. But you don't want to sell the Furiox when you're so damn close to Scoriox. That's a rough spot to try and be. They're going to try and win this right off of positioning. Final battle. Here we go. Let's see how the Rogues can do up against these Harbingers. The last couple of battles, it's been really strong here for the Harbingers, but the Furiox this time is actually in a rather safe spot. It will be eating that Pyro Field coming out from the Arctase, but the Stab-In on the side of Awaken will go down. I lied. Okay, no, there it goes. It did go down, but the Umber is right there to take care of the Furiox. Once again, it's going to be the same tale as last time. Mammoth, what do you have for us? You're going to be the one that potentially carries this game, or is the Rogues going to take this? And sure enough, with the new team coming on through here for Awaken, that has in fact awakened the mad dog inside of them, and that will be their first victory here in the Illuvium Arena House League. Congratulations once again, Awaken and the entirety of Mad Dogs. An incredible back and forth here, but the Rogues found the pieces that they needed, showcasing that 4 Revenant is still extremely powerful, while also pairing up there with the Vanguard duo. And heck, a Revenant chip onto an Umber, that is absolutely disgusting. Again, results this time by with Awake Darkness or Awaken Mad Dogs coming on through with that Revenant team. Ethan with a very valiant dust control kind of style with the Harbingers, with a Granite chip onto the Axodon was very scary to deal with, but the Mammoth could not find the clutch flings in time. Robert Tacho went for it all, a very, very risky build, did better than the past weeks, but will end up third. But no matter what, of course, everybody that's played here today will be getting some Illuvial packs from, of course, the Illuvium themselves. They've supplied me skulls to be able to give you a couple packs here as a part of Illuvium Arena House League's prizing. And of course, the Silence House Community Rescue will be sending you some Illuvials as well to help fill out your collection if you have holes that can still be filled that we have. Like I know, say for Awaken's perspective, their big thing is needing levels. They have essentially a full collection already. So in those instances, the Community Rescue might not be able to help you, but there's still plenty of Illuvials coming your way. Congratulations, everybody. That was an incredible back and forth there with Ethan, absolutely. Bunch of Mad Dogs in attendance to watch that one go down as well. That has to feel good. All right. Flashbang. Quickly filling up my sheet. Awaken Mad Dogs. Mad Doggos. Ethet. Robert Tacho. Robert Toch. Oh, there. And we can officially move you over there. Let's get a 1 next to that name there, Awaken. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, so with the Carablu... Yeah, let me pull that back up here. Flashback again. So the prizes here for the Carablu Cup, of course, with Awaken. I almost did it again. Awaken. Getting the victory. That is 3 packs of Illuvials coming on through. Each of those packs having 8 Illuvials inside of them. Completely randomly generated, but still, whether it be for starting spots on the roster, or potentially for deathmatch, or saving them for Obelisk Rising. Either way, that's a lot of Illuvials coming your way. Ethet has 2 packs coming their way as well. Robert Tacho also going to be getting the 1 pack. And then, like I was mentioning before, the Community Rescue will go through your account and see, or go through your collection rather, and see if you're missing anything and see if we could help you build that collection a little bit more. Skull packs drop good loot. Well, let's hope. Of course, I opened those up on Wednesday's stream. We're going to be doing This Week in Illuvium, where I go over the news, and at the very, very end, we touch on the... Or not we touch on, but we do the openings for the packs then, and that's when I send them over to you. All right, our next matchup, Lynx League. Code coming on through in just a second for the Lynx League. We have Coyote Hype. We have Vermin, aka Bondaddy Ratty. We have Hunter. Always forget to put the dot in front of Hunter's name, though, when I'm trying to search them up on Discord. We have Kira. We have Matter1. We've got Monster. And we do have 2 openings still for Lynx League. So the offer will be Awaken and to Ethet to start things off. Because yous were first and second, respectively. If you want to hop into Lynx League and take another shot at the prizes, you're more than welcome to. If you don't want to, that's A-okay. I'll then open it up to Robert Tacho as well. You both can jump in, Ethet and... Oh, wait. I just pinged you in Discord with the code if you want to hop on in. Okay. I see the lobby loading up. Alright, double checking real fast here. Kira, Coyote Hype, Awaken Mad Dogs, Monster, Mothpuck Mad Dogs, Ethet, Hunter from Mad Dogs. Holy Mad Dogs, Batman. This is starting to look like 2025 hype up in here for this matchup. And then we do have Bond's going to be the combo breaker, Vermin, and Matter1. All right, the gang's all here. We're going to start off this lobby. Good luck, have fun. Let's go. That's definitely an interesting one to start things off here. Getting the C4 Revenant. Of course, you need the chip to actually hit that one, and it can be a little bit difficult. And even without the slashing, Awaken was able to take that. And then Ethan, once again, a very, very valiant run. I loved the idea of just going mass Harbinger, given that the Axodon came like relatively nicely. They had that fully evolved Mammoth so early in that fight, it felt like, as well. Just was missing a closer for damage, it felt like. I mean, you had the Theriax, don't get me wrong, but yeah, was 2 away from getting Scoriox, just barely running out of economy. Yeah, that was anybody's game. Blazin says, somebody go Inferno for me. Yeah, we haven't seen Inferno yet, have we? Not that it's bad. We had seen 6 Fire earlier. There's not necessarily Inferno, unless a bot did it. Alright, let's load on in. Now the game's essentially gone a few minutes ahead of us. Everybody make it in. I don't see any bots, so we have ourselves a full lobby. Here we go. Say, assuming I didn't break the game. Okay, there we go. Took a second, but we got it. All right, here we go. We've got a full lobby here for our second match of the day here in Week 19 of Illuvium Arena House League. This Lynx League battle, we are going to have Vermin Bonds, Matter 1, Mothpuck from Mad Dogs, Hunter, or used to be known as Illuvium Hunter, going to be here for Mad Dogs as well. We've got Kira, we've got Ethit, and Awaken from Mad Dogs coming up through the Carablu Cup. And then, last but not least, Coyote Hype going to be joining us here for today's matchup. This time by, we are on the absolutely gorgeous Brightland Steps with the region specifically. There we go. With the region buff specifically going to be, in this case here, about 20 free shop rerolls. That is absolutely beautiful. Maybe hitting some of those risky early push games can be a little bit stronger on a region just like this. But with it being round 4, let's watch the battle while also taking a look at our weapon selection here today. And how much blue are we seeing? We are seeing a handful of it this time by. Vermin going to be picking up the Aqua Blaster. The Ripple Flail coming out here for Kira. We are going to see Monster, Mothpuck, going to be picking up the Tidal Shiv. We're going to see Coyote Hype with the Lava Gauntlet. Ethit with the Grove Sword. That's not an air weapon, but it's still a fighter. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. Matter 1 spending the bank already with the Silphid Blade. Awake Darkness or Awake Mad Dog. We're going to see the Ember Buckler coming on through. And then last but not least, I believe somebody zipped past me while I was looking at that, but there was a second Ripple Flail coming out here, this time from Kira. Kira, if I recall correctly, one of those players kind of similar to Matter 1, actually, where they don't necessarily have a ton of Illuvials. They don't have a massive collection, but they have an incredible water, air, like a frost team, so to speak. And that team is very, very good. High 50s for a handful of those Illuvials. Decent and strong TPI on a lot of them as well. And it can be very, very devastating to deal with, but at the same time, of course, still looking to grow their collection. That's why, of course, I'm very, very excited and happy that the community rescue's gotten big enough to the point where we can also assist with Lynx League players. So again, a massive thank you to everybody who makes donations to help keep that community rescue full, so we can keep supplying newer players and even long-term players as well that just haven't quite found that whole collection, and we can help them out with that. That's absolutely incredible. So thank you again for doing that, everybody. Kira, in fact, going to take the win here this time over Coyote Hype with a lot of Illuvials standing. That is a lot of damage for one round, my goodness. For this early, anyway. We'll ride along with Matter 1 next. Let's see what they're going for. They, too, I believe, has been essentially going for purely water. They have a very, very strong water team. I believe they splash in a rogue style to that water team. And we're going to see water take up the majority of their team, at least off the rip. We're going to see the Carablu, the Atlas alongside the Ranger. So 3 water off the start. Meanwhile, they are going up against Illuvium Hunter, or Hunter from Mad Dogs now. Got to get that right. But we were going to see the Virtuous Lynx, and a very beautiful Virtuous Lynx at that. Just needs a little bit more battle experience there, and that thing is going to absolutely be an immovable object if all things goes its way. Of course, it is an empath, so while it is healing based off of your allies' missing health, it's also doing damage based off of your opponent's missing health. So when you're all clumped up like that with low HP, that Virtuous Lynx gets absolute value, and Matter 1 going to take that one, I believe. Or no, Hunter, rather, took that one, I believe. Alright, NPC round, let's take a look at the economy side of things and see who has been absolutely blowing the bank. And the answer is actually a handful of people this time by. Kira immediately going down, like, scratching the leather in the wallet to try to find a few more credits. Not literally, but like you're completely down to 2, but with a decent amount of strength to start things off with, including setting up for maybe some sort of berserker. We'll have to see. Then Matter 1, of course, does this similar method, but we do see the Axon now onto the battlefield. Awaken, we've got Ethits, we've got Coyote, and Hunter, all within 30 to 40. Vermin currently going to be leading charge in terms of economy, though. Let's see how Matter 1 does right now, considering they've spent the bank to get this far. But can they turn this into wins? I mean, that's a pretty sick early pickup, if I do say so myself, and this is what I'm talking about. This stab-in is absolutely gorgeous, and it's level 57 as well. It might not have the augments for this fight, but it damn well might just not need it. We'll have to see how much damage that stab-in can do once it really starts to get ramped up. You do have to deal with Monster, though, who does have that title shiv on that Ranger, so it's going to be zip-zapping all over the place. Looking for those executes, but it looks like it's just getting stun-locked here. Or not stun-locked, but it's being really slowed down heavily by that Kookaloo's. Kookaloo's coming in for some big support to really allow not just the stab-in, but the Revo coming on through and doing a bunch of damage here for the side of Matter 1. They stop the bleeding, and we'll have to see where they can take it from there. Our winner from last game, Awaken. Of course, we have a little bit of a Mad Dog battle, it looks like here. Monster going up against Awaken. Now, Monster has an incredible early game team, if I recall correctly, where just very high TPI, but at the same time, high level. They're one of the few people in the Lynx League that are like here with a handful of level 60s. But the thing is that it's a lot of the tier 1s. Their tier 1s and their early game is absolutely devastating. It's still just the late game, though, that they're currently working on. And working on very, very well. They're definitely coming along very, very nicely week in, week out. But a lot of their game plan has to deal with how much damage they can do quickly. And like we can see right here, that is very, very much so some big damage. Awaken going to take a heavy shot there from their teammate. Not much that you can do there. We got Hunter versus Coyote. Coyote hype. What are you cooking as of this moment? Got a pretty decent early game front line with that level 60 Axon and Carablu, two very, very beefy fellas. But meanwhile, here on the other side here for Hunter, it's going to be Toxic Aegis, the Aegis buffed Fury in the background, and the Aegis buffed Carablu. So rather than all-inning the buffs onto one Illuvial, they are going to spread the wealth a little bit. So not one Illuvial is going to be supercharged, but at least that Fury as well, not going to be touched very, very often. Looking very, very nice. Even the Railu kind of acting like a pseudo-tank here for Hunter to allow for that Burnite and that Fury to go just absolutely bonkers and take care of Coyote hype. Can I see the Fury, please? Game. Fury. Thank you. There we go. Okay, beautiful. It might be level 20. It might just be a little guy, but that is perfect offense, essentially, here for a Fury. Now we have a battle between our top two. Hunter might be on the win streak, but Kira is looking for the combo breaker. We do see this level 51 Gyro, offensively very, very nice. Looking to try and play spoiler. Alongside, again, the Stabbin'. Heck, even a Riptor is coming on through, and this guy's a level 60 as well, so a pretty beefy dangerous Scorpion coming on through this time for Kira. We do see a switch up in terms of the Ranger synergy as well coming up here for Kira. We do see it is now Tsunami Vanguard is the play. So that Stabin, even though it does not have any augments, will at least be able to chip away thanks to those Vanguard procs. However, there are not very many rogues on the field here with it. So trying to land those crits to get that max health or that percent health damage is not going to be as easy as we would normally traditionally see. But we do have the Riptors. It's onto the support line. If they can stay safe, they might be able to jump that Fury, but they're not going to be able to do so. The Vanguard Ranger not going to be able to clutch this one up. The backline duo, the Snake and the Shoebill. It is basically a tale as old as time here in Illuvium. The perfect duo of sorts. They're going to clutch things up. So we hit level 12 right before where we would normally see the big spend. We, of course, have this NPC round in progress. Hunter from Mad Dog's going to be continuing their win streak, getting very, very far along with that as well. 46 left in the tank. Starting to throw on some of those fire Illuvials. We do see the Flare, and of course the Fury from the last round doing quite well. Kira spent the bank, but they do have at least Vanguard going, but there's, again, not much rogues to support it currently. Matter 1 on a little bit of a win streak now as well, since they found their own Stabin. Coyote Hype currently sitting very, very strong in regards to the amount of credits they have. Over 80, over 90 now. Same thing with Awaken. Awaken was in the hundreds at one point. Monster short to follow. They do have the Predator trio currently locked down. The Ranger also being Predator. And Vermin looked like maybe they're going for full water, and then there's a Furiox. So I'm still trying to figure out what they're building. It does look like this is actually going to be Steam Arcanite coming out here from Vermin. I haven't seen them in a little while, so let's hop on over to them. Monster picking up for the first time today. I could take a look at this absolutely gorgeous Lynx. That is going to be the Virtuous Terra Lynx, and beautiful stats on this fella. So congratulations, Monster, on that awesome, awesome Illuvial. Of course, Lynx is some of my favorites in the game. But let's take a look at one of my favorite team kind of compositions here with water and steam. Even the Furiox has actually got a water chip onto it, so it's going to be locking and loading and getting that attack speed and splash damage extremely quickly. But a lot of emphasis here onto the Rake that got absolutely assassinated by the Greater Gorilla, and with that, the rest of the team will fall. A very dominant win here from Mothbuck. But we hop on over to Awaken. Awaken did get taken down by Kira, so Kira kind of flexing their feathers a little bit. Any other battles in progress? Does not look like it. Of course, again, Awaken and Ethit both taking the bump up from the Carablu Cup, so they know that they are the underdogs in this scenario, but they can still absolutely make an impact. And it looks like actually Ethit's been the one trying to make some moves. A couple of evolutions coming on to the bench, including a Quinks. There's not one on the field just yet. There it goes. A little bit of additional control. Definitely going to be nice. An interesting mix here for Ethit. Predators here, but otherwise they're not really all-inning on a lot of, or on anything in particular. We do see Toxic coming on through as well. Then again here for Vermin, aka Bond Daddy Ratty's second account, the 90 TPI only team. An incredible project in its own right. Shoutouts to them for going for it. But let's see if they can pull it off. Again, lots of reliance here on this Rake to perform. It has absolutely beautiful stats, but it's a level 40. It's still absolutely beatable, but it's got plenty of backup behind it. A beautiful win here for Vermin. Gonna knock Ethit to within kill shot. If I hop on over to Awaken, what happened down here looks like something rather similar. That is going to be Matter 1 starting to get the frost going here. The Jokul has arrived as well, level 54. That is a beautiful bear. Oh, but here we go, like it's the Carablu Cup final match all over again. We've got Awaken, we've got Ethit. One of them's getting knocked out right here, right now. And Ethit did get that Winks online, so it's going to at least mess with the TNT and the Flish, but the Flish you're not necessarily too worried about messing with, but that TNT has such a long wind-up that it can be messed with very easy. There is only 2 Scions. They went heavy for the Borgs instead, so there is no immunity to crowd control. Decent battle directly in center field here. Spin the win for that Singe, doing a ton of damage while also just holding the line. Does get stunned up, though. This is going to be a little bit rough, even though there has been some disruption coming on through from the Queens. I think it did eventually fall here, and there's a lot of low health bars here. Ethan, once again, might just barely be going down. Awaken, similar to what we saw in the Carablu Cup final, not going to let their attention slip. They will get the better of Ethan this time by. But of course, GG's Ethan as well. Thank you for playing. Always a pleasure having you onto the battlefield. And again, congratulations on your performance in the Carablu Cup as well. Now, this could potentially be a team kill if Monster gets the better of Awaken. Awaken only 12 HP as of this moment. So there is no flexibility available whatsoever. We do have Steam Predator is the idea here for Monster, but they won't have Steam online. It's just going to be Predator. But 3 Predator, still very devastating, especially if they can all jump the same target at once. They are a little bit split, but there we go. The Ranger executes that Crunk like it's nobody's business. Immediately diving in, though, and going to dive in directly onto the Archos with a big defense to cover that Furiox. The Furiox has not been touched this entire fight, but the rest of the front line, now that Goliath goes down, will be falling. But the DPS have also fallen. This is, wait a second, the Goliath's still here. It's going to hang on, but of course, with it being so low on HP, maybe that Virtuous Lynx can get some execute damage onto that Omega and really start to shred things down. Let's see the numbers here onto this one. The Archos will end up falling. It's the tried and true, the backline duo, the Furiox and the Fur Knight. This is a very close battle once again. Who's going to be the one that ends up standing tall? It shall be the Snake in the end. The little Furiox that could. Going to hang on rather nicely. So Awaken will keep themselves in the game as we hit the NPC round for essentially our halfway point here, or a little bit past halfway point on this one. Everything is not as planned. Sometimes it can't be. I know right off the rip, it wasn't an air weapon, but nonetheless, thank you so much for playing, Ethan. Credit-wise, as we start to get into this late game, a lot of spending in the midfield. Vermin, Kira, Matter, all below 20 until the credit influx came on through. Awaken down into 30s. That, of course, Furiox is going to be trying to carry that one. Another Fur Knight coming on through, so Blazonite potentially on the line here for Awaken if they can score that one. Vermin, on the other hand, does have a Forest. The little bird coming on through. A very beautiful bird at that. Level 31, though. Going to still be holding all of the cards in regards to the augments. Lots of reliance onto the Forest. Lots of reliance, again, onto the Rake as well. Again, still sticking to this battle in particular, because in a worst-case scenario, we could lose Awaken in this fight. One thing also to note, as long as Awaken can survive this, they are 1 Illuvial away from getting Blotto, 1 away from finding Blazonite, and 1 away from finding Gnarl. There are a lot of big upgrades, literally right on the doorstep for Awaken. They just have to survive this Steam onslaught coming on through, and with that Rake in a pretty sweet position, those Wraith Strikes were hitting the backline, but the second one didn't, which does allow time for Archos to heal up the backline. It's going to be another backline versus backline battle, but this is looking really good here for Awaken. Vermin shall be taken down this time, not eliminated just yet. Still 7 HP to keep themselves in this game. Then Mothpuck, they're going up against, I believe it was the Ghost of Matter 1, a very close battle here as well. But now even Monster down to within kill shot. We have 4 players now within kill shot. Gonna quickly take a peek here. That is the Blazonite coming on through here for Awaken. We then also have, of course, Vermin there within kill shot. They're going up against Hunter, who is on an absolute massive win streak. Then Monster versus Kira, or versus Kira's Ghost, it looks like. So there is potential for a lot of hopping around. I'm going to try my damnedest to cover everything that we can. I want to see if there's any world here where Vermin can hold the line. We do see the Alfie here, so it's going to try its damnedest to actually dive on through and just fire off that beam into the back line, maybe chip away at that Furiox. But given the position of the Crunk, it might actually throw a wrench into things. Yeah, it went for the Riptorus, actually. Big dive coming on through here from the ramp fight, and that just absolutely blew them up big time. Vermin will be out of here, it looks like. We do lose Kira as well. Now, how about over here with the Awaken? Monster's going to hang on for a little bit. The Gnarl is here for Awaken right in the nick of time, and they're going to be able to outmuscle Matter 1 this time by. The Mad Dogs hanging on by a thread, with one also in the lead of this lobby. Is there a world where I can see the very first podium lockdown for Mad Dogs? I've seen it with Hype. I've not seen any other team do it just yet in a competitive or semi-competitive setting. I mean, no pressure. It'll happen eventually one day, I'm sure. Just keep working on it. But this is a very, very interesting opportunity here for the Mad Dog squad. Now, Coyote Hype, they are nearly at the 5 Bulwark threshold. They have 9 water. Tsunami Toxic. So these Omegas are going to be coming out very, very quickly. But they do not have 5 Scions, so there is room for this Blazonite, if it can stay alive, to stun some of these Illuvials in the back line. But look just how much damage that came through. That is going to be... There's a good stun, actually, though. It does stop the Devastating Surge. And the Archos is still keeping that back line rather safe. Octius doing some good work in the back line as well, though. Same thing here with the Ranger. There goes the Crunk. Now, what about the Gnarl? It is hanging on as strongly as it can. We do lose Alfie, and now they're going to dive onto the backline. The Goliaths, the Gnarl, they are in position. There goes the Ranger. There goes the Octius, and it does look like Awaken will hold on a little bit longer as well. Now, it's Matter 1 in the hot seat. Matter 1 going up against the Ghost of Coyote Hype, and Coyote Hype did just land the Sin-Off as an upgrade. That is now going to be Tsunami Invoker online, which can now get these just so much faster. And heck, even here for Coyote Hype, they are 1 Illuvial away from finding the big squid. A Fisto is right around the corner. They're looking for it. They are trying their damnedest to find it. There we go. Hello, big guy. Level 56. But this is going to get messy. We could see multiple players out of here very, very quickly with the way the lineup is set up. I believe even Awaken and Monster are currently battling it out here with each other. Big ramp fire damage coming on through, but then here comes the shock. Is it Invoker going to be enough? I don't think it's going to be able to do so. We're going to lose Matter 1. Let's hop in with the Mad Dogs. Somebody has to go home here, and this is going to be a very drawn out and close battle, it looks like. Neither one wanting to go down. The Verminio loaded up. It just needs to get out of taunt to fire that off. It got stunned before the Omega came out. So no big splash there. But this is just an absolute standstill up until the point where we are going to see Awaken almost pull the bump and run. They got the win in Carablu Cup and made it all the way to 4th. That is probably one of the biggest performances we've seen since Axel pulled it off when we first introduced the system, where they were able to go from a win into, I think, a second. Awaken nearly pulling that off again as well. GG's. Coyote Hype hanging on 1 HP in a dream. The Invokers are online. 3 of them in particular. Of course, the big thorn in the side is not being able to have the 4th. Finding Sephirus is always such a risky game to play. And of course, a reminder for my Monarch Masters main event players, you are on right after this. And we will be accepting bump ups as well into the Monarch Masters. I believe we do have 1 spot still open. But we have Coyote Hype versus Monster. Hunter's going to be on a fantastic win streak, and they're going to keep this up, going up against the Ghost. But let's see right here, right now. We've got Tsunami on both sides, but one's up in your face, and the other wants to shoot from afar. The Fisto, Sin-Alf, make it rain, why don't we? But the Lynx actually survives. But a big snipe actually there from the Ranger, going to take away some of those rogues. This is looking really good here for Coyote Hype. Their Illuvial still nice and safe. Ophisto, nice and safe. One more time from the Axon and the Ophisto, and we will see Monster gonna snag the podium, but just barely, not gonna be able to hang on. And with that, Coyote Hype, with a fantastic win, gonna move into second place, but they have an absolute army of a task ahead of them here. Going up against Hunter from Mad Dogs, aka Illuvium Hunter, who has been an absolute tear of the Lynx League over the last couple of weeks. And it's not necessarily to finding the craziest of Illuvials, just they have that way to hit level 9, level 10. Very consistently and truly maximize the synergies of the Illuvials that are on the field. However, we do see a rather big gun here. Rampfire is ready to play, but can it actually reach those Illuvials in the middle? The juicy squishies that Rampfire dreams of blowing up. This is about as good as it gets for a Rampfire. Let's take a look and see if they can pull it off. Infernal Skyfall blows up the Ophisto! And with that, it's up to the Sinolf to do all the damage. I mean, actually, the Rake's in the corner as well. It's trying to stam it, or it's damned. It's a good shot again from the Sinolf. But the Riptoruses, they're both going at it one after another. But it looks like Coyote Hype shall be collapsed on. And with that, Illuvium Hunter, for what I believe is the second week in a row, shall be your winner here in the Lynx League. Newly obtained by Mad Dogs as well. Congratulations, Hunter. Blazin', you asked for Inferno. There you go. There's some Inferno as a piece of that. That was incredible. So Hunter going to get the win with the Inferno style. That would have been 2 Inferno on top of a Toxic Aegis team. Coyote Hype going to take that very heavy Water Invoker team. I love to see it, but unfortunately Rampfire snuck in and it was over from there. But still, solid finish here for Coyote Hype. Monster making the podium. Fantastic win here as well, or fantastic placing here as well with that rogue-based team. End up kind of being Revenant, it does look like. Did very, very well. Awaken from the Carablu Cup all the way the 4th. Hell, they almost made the podium. That was hella close with a very, very beefy Nature team, or Nature and Fire team at that. Batter and Kira both with awesome efforts, but with both of them playing very similar builds, they kind of stepped on each other's toes. Gonna put them in 5th and 6th respectively. Bondaddy Ratty's 90 TPI exclusive team here for Vermin. Nearly got that Steam Arcanite on, or got that Steam Arcanite online, but did not just have the levels quite yet to truly move up the ranks. And then Ethan as well, coming on through from the Carablu Cup, had the, they knew they were punching up above their weight class, and the weapon didn't go their way, but still made the best of it, and honestly fought very admirably, all things considered. GG's. All right, let's get that documented. Yeah, Vermin is Ratty's 90 plus TPI only team that needs to be leveled, if I recall correctly. All right, let's get this written down. Now, of course, one thing that did change, actually, here for the Lynx League, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is that Lynx League, now, just for participating, if you don't have a full collection, you do have access to community rescue help as well to be able to grow your team. And I did make the change. Originally, it was 3 points worth of Illuvials from the community rescue. It has been bumped up to 5 to match it, the match scenario as if you were getting 3rd in Carablu Cup. Because originally it was 3, and it was brought to my attention that in certain instances it could actually punish players from graduating from Carablu Cup. And I do want people to feel good about graduating and not get hit and make things harder. So we did make the change. Community rescue will now be 5 points here for the Lynx League. We've got Hunter for first there. Coyote Hype second. Monster third. Awaken forth. Matter 5th, Kira 6th. Vermin 7th, Heath at 8th. Alright, flashbang warning once again. Yeah, so I'm just documenting it all just over here. It's not going to show for you for just a second, actually. Let me fix that here for you. That's better. All right, so yeah, I've got everybody written down here on the Lynx League side. So for winning that one, Hunter will be picking up 7 Illuvial packs, thanks to Illuvium sending some skulls for some deathmatch packs coming on through. Coyote Hype, same thing, we got 5 of them. Monster going to have 3 coming their way. And then everybody, if they're eligible, and missing some Illuvials that the Community Rescue can supply, we'll do what we can to help fill the gaps here for you and help you keep growing. You see Tex and I see Matter in chat as well. Good to see everybody. GG's, everyone. And Texan we're going to see on the battlefield in just a second. I got to get the Monarch lobby ready. Making the code now. All right. Monarch Masters, we have Badul. We have Hector from Mad Dogs. We have Kirito Hype. Just gotta find the right Kirito. There are so many Kiritos. Thank goodness Kirito has a Lynx, otherwise I'd never be able to find you on Discord. Same thing here for Thanatos. If you didn't have the Rat Daddy, I would not know that that was yours. Texan. Zico Perico. Nyx. And then last but not least, Hunter. If you want to take a shot here at the Monarch Masters, you are welcome to. Please do let me know if you can't, though. Because then I will just go down the order and offer it up to the next player in line if you don't want to. Yeah, so Hunter first, and then Coyote Hype if Hunter cannot make it. All right. Hunter is in lobby. Okay, so they will take the bump. And with that, we are full up and good to go. I'm going to fire this off. Good luck, have fun, everybody. And of course, while we're loading into this game, I do also want to give, again, the heads up that Illuvium did just make an announcement once again. So if you did not get this done already, and you're interested in Obelisk Rising, please do make sure you fire off an application on the website. Get a part of this closed alpha. Of course, the playtest, we knew it was coming on, or it was coming in August. It sounds like we're almost right around the corner from it potentially happening. There is no exact date just yet, but the idea is they want some people to be playing this game, obviously, especially during Phase 1, to be able to find the bugs and improve the gameplay. But then Phase 2, that's happening a little bit later, that's going to get even more people in. So if you don't make the list immediately, do not fret. There's still another one coming around the corner. And it sounds like this playtest is going to be the first time that we do actually get to try the 4-player raids ourselves, which will be really, really cool. I know someone like myself, raiding for MMOs or dungeon running is what essentially got me glued to MMORPGs in the very, very first place. Not to mention the also creature capture side of this. This game is basically my wet dream. So I am hoping that we can get this as smooth as possible through this playtest. There is the link on the Discord. I believe it's also on their X. And then at the end of the day, if you're watching this after the stream went live, I'll put this in the description of the stream here as well. So if you're interested in helping out getting this thing started off, make sure you apply. I know personally I've applied, looking to help as much as I can, and if we do actually get allowed to stream, you know I'll be on it frame one. I don't expect it to be streamed, with it being a playtest. A lot of those times those things are under NDA. But if we are allowed to, then hell yeah. All right. We ready for the Monarch Masters? Let's get into this in just a sec. All right. And here we have it, our final match of the day here for week 19 of Illuvium Arena House League. This is the Monarch Masters main event. Some of our most dedicated and some of our strongest players and highest, with the craziest collections, all coming on through for one full lobby of just, no better way to say it, just absolute epicness. Let's take a look and see who we got here today. We've got Hector from Mad Dogs. We have Kirito. We have Texan. We have Badul. We have Nyx from Hype. We've got Hunter from Mad Dogs just winning the Lynx League, taking the bump up. We have Zika Perico, and we have Thanatos coming on through here today. This is an absolute stacked lobby, going to be a very, very tough one at that, but that just makes it that much more exciting. In terms of weapons we're getting for this session, let's take a look and see who we have. I was worried that this would be the case. When you've got Thanatos and Hector in the same lobby, we could have some rogues maybe at each other's throats. It looks like that's exactly what we're going to be getting. Thanatos with the Quake Mauler option, and then the Verdant Cleaver, or the Vinebound Cleaver rather, coming out here for Hector. Kirito with their tried and true, I believe their favorite, the Aqua Blaster. Texan with the Shadow Maul, that's your Earth Empath weapon. We see Badul, I think currently number 3 currently on the ranked leaderboards, picking up that Lava Gauntlet. Same idea here for Nyx Hype, it looks like. And then Hunter picking up the Sylphid Blade. That's a water fighter weapon. And last but not least, Zika Perico, Sprout Guard in hand. The defensive shield, but it is actually a Scion weapon. In terms of our region this time by, we get a little bit of extra flexibility. We get one more extra alluvial than normal. So the boards will be flooded. My eyes will be absolutely all over the place, watching plenty of flashy things. I will try to interpret it as best as possible for all of you here today. Now, Zika Perico, it's been a little while since we actually have gotten to see Zika Perico in action. From what I remember for the longest time is that they did really enjoy a corner composition of sorts. It reminds me very, very similarly to what we would see Draknyen do with heavy nature, but it'd be kind of Aegis buffed into a Scoriox. Something maybe similarly. I'm not sure if it'd be Aegis per se. It might be either just Arcanite or Templar. But I do remember Zika Perico liking a very similar style, and the fact that we do see a rather gorgeous flare coming on through here. I gotta give the little guy some credit here. Look at this little hollowed out beautiful flare alongside the Dark Hollow Archie flex on them. This is how hollows should be in the game when you look across from your opponent and they happen to have two awesome standouts, not a full bunch of hollows on a bot team or something along those lines. I don't know, maybe I've seen that from experience or something like that, but nonetheless here, let's see how Zika Perico, and they might have the very, very pretty squad, but do they have the firepower? Kirito wants to shut me up and start talking about the damage that their team is outputting, because this is absolutely devastating. Complete runaround here for the side of Kirito. Zika Perico going to take some hits early on into this one. NPC round, let's take a look here in a moment to see what we're looking at in regards to the economy side of things. We do have Texan currently in the lead alongside Kirito, both with 100 HP still, but 40 credits in the bank. Essentially, most players looks like they're hovering around that 40 to 50 mark. There's only Hunter who's spent a lot more. Thanatos has spent a little bit, but then everybody else still within the 40s and 50s now that those credits have come on through. We'll roll around here with Thanatos. Why don't we have... yeah, let's roll on with Thanatos. I haven't seen what they've picked up yet. We know they like their rogue, and they're also not afraid from straying away from Penguin if necessary. But right now, things are kind of going their way, at least in terms of finding the first stage of a couple of Illuvials. We do see the Pengu online here, level 53. Of course, the big Lynx to try and lead the charge here in this early game, but this is a lot of, again, stage 1s. Not much in regards to evolutions here. So that might be where Kirito will be able to kind of shine a little bit. We do see the Rangers set up to really boost up that Axon. Harbinger will be online here for the side of Kirito. Going to make it very difficult. Rampy to the skies will be able to blow up the Axon, so that's a fantastic start, but I think the Rogue Squad here for Thanatos is just going to run out of steam. Kirito going to get the shot this time, rather convincingly once again. The front line fell, but the back line stood tall. See, Hunter and Nyx still going at it here as well. Nyx looking like they're going to be able to get the better of Hunter this time. All right, Texan, Hunter. What's a combo we haven't necessarily seen yet here? Thanatos, Nyx. Let's see how this goes. So Nyx in this instance here, we do have a lot of fire coming their way. 6 fire already online. In a very similar situation to what Thanatos was cooking, though, where they have a lot of stage 1s. But there is the Chikoro here, and this is the beautiful level 60. So Chikoro does a sneaky amount of damage that you never really truly feel until you realize, wait, it's still the last one alive, and it's still kicking my ass. That is the Chikoro in a nutshell. But when it gets swarmed by 7, I don't think there's much I can do to hype it up, unfortunately, in this case. There we go. That's the swarm coming on through here from Thanatos, and they will be able to put the hurt onto Nyx this time by. Hop on with Hunter. They're going up against Texan. It's looking like this is pretty good for Hunter, actually. They're going to be able to shut down Texan's win streak. As long as they can deal with this little Lura. It's a very tanky fella, but it will go down. So this means that Kirito is now going to have full control of this lobby. Win streak still in hand. Still a flawless game going there so far for them. How about our current ranked number 3, Badul? We do have Enchanter coming online here with this big old beautiful bird. The Kukulus, level 60. Essentially all the stats exactly where you need it. Very tanky fella at that. So whether this gets turned into a Kukuraf or whether it just stays as a Kukulus and just be an Enchanter stun bot, that might be the play. But there's not a whole heck of a lot of damage, at least as of this moment. There's a lot of setup here for damage. If we have the dash, but the dash doesn't do that much by itself, at least not right now. When it evolves to Rake, now we're starting to talk a little bit. Then obviously once it's an Umber, we've seen what Umber can do. But there's still a long ways away here. Can those Enchanter procs save this Rake or save this dash potentially? It looks like it's going to be just enough. Heck, even the Fleesh is going to stand tall here for Badul. And will stand tall versus Thanatos, holding off the Rogues. Speaking of Rogues, let's hop on over to Hunter and Hector, a very, very close battle as well, but it looks like it's going to be Hunter taking care of Hector this time by. Let's hop in with our current lobby leader. I keep getting Hunter over and over again. I promise you, I'm trying to find multiple combinations here. Here, Zico Perico versus Texan. Now, Zico Perico has also turned this into a Enchanter-based build, but it's a much tankier variant because you do have that Scion Shield, the Sprout Guard, of course, here for the Ranger. But then what do you got for damage? It's relying on the Kukulus, which does not bring that much damage by itself. You do have the Railu, which is offensively perfect. Nicely done there for that Railu. And then otherwise, it's the little Vermilia, which is not necessarily going to pack a punch at this moment here. So this is a very tanky squad, but how effective is it going to be in terms of damage? We'll have to see, because there's a very similar situation here on the other side for Texan, but at least they've got the Snail, they've got the TNT, so you know that burst damage is going to at least come from somewhere. And the Lynx is still holding its own rather nicely as well. Normally when you start to get into the double digits for rounds, like round 10 and onward, you will see the Lynx start to fall off. And we are going to actually see that in this case here. Zico Perico looking like they're in a perfect position here to try and shut down Texan. Just a matter of getting that Railu on top of the snail, and there it goes. Railu and the Axon shall finish the job. That'll be Texan knocked down to the middle with 69 HP left as we have another NPC round for a little bit more credits on the way. Oh. Didn't want to click that just yet. Caught me checking stuff in the background. Don't mind me. Let's get on with our credit check here. So, okay. So, Texans loaded up with an absolute ton here. They're going to be over 100 by the time this round ends up. But most importantly here, I'm going to be looking at the rogue side of things, because they need to start hitting the gas or opt to start pivoting. The one big win here for Thanatos is that they are the first one to get the stab in. So they could get either Predator or start going for Vanguard very, very quickly. But it looks even like trying to get Predator was shut down. There is no Chakondi here for the side of Thanatos. But meanwhile for Hector, they too also get this stab in, but they already have Vanguard online. We are going to see the classic Verdant Vanguard in play. Let's take a look at that. That's going to be Hector versus Kirito for this fight. Now, Thanatos did opt to go for Vanguard as well. They do have the Bloom, so the Lalura is not going to mind that too much. But in terms of a carry potential, that's not necessarily the target that you're going to be leaning on, at least as of right now. Meanwhile, the Stabbin all Vanguarded up and ready to rock. As long as it can stay safe, it could absolutely flourish. And it looks like Hector has just enough power to stop this win streak here for Kirito in a very, very convincing fashion. Beautifully done there from Hector. Let's hop to the next rogue here with Thanatos versus Zico Perico. This one's going down to the wire. We do see Thanatos having a little bit of backup from the TNT, and it's going to all be down to the snail. We see the Fur Knight, the little Rota. Heck, even the Axon has that shield in front of it. It's doing a rather nice job. We'll be able to put the hurt here on the Thanatos ever so slightly. I want to check in with Nyx. They were the only one, I think, in this lobby that are genuinely going for a very high fire-based build. 6 fire currently online. Kirito, on the other hand, continuing to build up that heavy water squad. They have their own Stabbin as a part of this as well. And they did just recently find this Alfie. So a lot of water units online. It's not 8 just yet, but 6 is still very good in terms of getting that additional energy regeneration. And the Harbinger side of things still going to be online. Looks like we see the Ebb joining as well. So that's going to be all the way up to 7. While you might not be able to get Tsunami in regards to the Axodon, the Flood is much, much easier to achieve. A good first shot from that Alfie going directly into the Polar Bear. The Ranger shot going to try and back it up as well. But the Polar Bear still lives. But there's a second wave of fighters coming on through here for the red side. But now the Polar Bear goes down. The Fern rather, is doing its damnedest. And look at the Chikoro. Remember how I said this thing just finds its way into the back line at the very end of fights, and you don't realize that it's there, but yet it killed you? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Big win here for Nyx over Kirito. Zico Perico also on a bit of a win streak now. They took a ton of heat in the early game, but now they are in position to maybe start running a little bit. They are very close to potentially scoring the Kukaraf if they could find a couple more of the Kukas, but they are relatively high level for that. Level 8, I believe, does make it so that you're at a 10% chance to find tier 1s, which is very, very difficult to actually pull off. Let's hop in with our current number 3 in terms of worldwide ranking for the arena. We just see Badul having a little bit of a hard time. They're going up against Texan now. Texan picking up a very high empath, nature-based team. And it's not even Mystic. This is Aegis. Meanwhile, we do see Badul. That's going to be 6 air, 2 shock, 3 fire. So there's a decent amount of firepower. But look at these empaths. The shields are just coming out so quickly and so strong. that by the time you get the jump on them, they do have some sort of protection. But there is not much damage onto the squad. That is going to be the caveat in this instance here. The backline firepower coming out here from Badul. Can they take care of Texan? They're trying to deal with the flood, and it took that Furiox a very long time. But look at this Mammoth being an absolute nuisance. This is going to come up to like a straight-up Western gunfight, so to speak, except one snake is a little bit bigger than the other. And while they might say size doesn't matter, firepower does. And that's going to be the Furiox and the rest of the squad coming on through very nicely for Badul. Hunter versus Nyx. Of course, Hunter, the winner of the Lynx League, taking the bump up to try and fight a little bit above their weight class. And so far, they're holding their own rather nicely here into this fight, but did take a lot of heat in the early rounds here. 33 HP compared to Nyx, who does have 37. So both of these players taking a lot of damage in this first half of the game. But Blazin', here you go. Some more Inferno coming your way. Fight in a decent position to potentially get the hit onto that Furiox. It looks like the Arctace is going to try and support as well, but it's going to be going directly into the Kronk, so not too bad. The ramp fight did actually tag the Furiox, and now that's not going to leave that Furiox much time once that Polar Bear jumps onto it. Now Nyx, some big damage coming on through. Hunter going to get knocked down to 16. Meanwhile, Texan going up against Hector. Texan with this very, very heavy empath squad. Looks like they've been able to weather the storm, but there is still a Pengu. There is still a Rake. Both of these Illuvials are fantastic clutch masters, let alone them both being on the same team. But it looks like so far, the Ranger is doing a pretty decent job of providing shields to allow for the backline to just shoot for as long as possible. Hector will lose this one, but they will continue to lead the lobby. As we start to enter the late game, we still have everybody, so props to everybody for surviving this long no matter what. But here's where things get interesting. The Rogues, this is the portion where they need to start hitting their pieces, or they fall off super hard. Thanatos and Hector both at the top of the board right now, second and first respectively. But they've had to spend, and they very well could be stepping on each other's toes. They both have Stabbins, they both have Rakes, and then in regards to the Stabbins, Kirito has some as well. Trying to find that fully evolved Pengu is going to be like trying to find a purpose for Seiken V3. It's going to be very, very mysterious and hard to find, but we are still looking for it, and it'll be crazy the day that we do find it. And same thing here with the Maluras. We do see Thanatos and Hector both trying to chase them. One more Stabbin online here for Thanatos. Hector right around the corner, I believe, from maybe finding a Malura, it looks like. They do have another Malura on board here, but not quite finding the finishing blow. However, we're going to hop on over with Hunter and Texan. Hunter needs to find this win, otherwise, with round 18 being here, this could be enough to knock them out of the game. This is, of course, Hunter going up against a 7 nature with Verdant squad with plenty of shields thanks to that 7 empath coming on through. And one thing that oftentimes gets overlooked, 7 empath, well, those empaths now get attack speed and attack damage while shielded. So these, while these are usually supports, they can still pack an absolute mighty punch. But the longer this fight goes on, when you're sitting at shields, that does allow for Furioxes with the Hyperforce reactor to maybe start cranking it up a little bit, like we are seeing on the side of Hunter, slowly but surely trying to chip away through all these shields. The little Atipo in the middle trying to hold their own alongside their Flood brethren. Shields up, but will end up going down. The Flood going to be short to follow, and this is where the Furiox starts getting scary. Look how fast this Furiox on the green side here for Hunter is starting to fire, but you do have to deal with overtime pulses now, which is an absolute benefit here for Texan. Unless they can get to your backline, they're there. This is going to be close, and it looks like Hunter will be fighting for their life just a little bit longer. Beautiful, beautiful save. Kirito going to be right there behind them as well. Very close situation. They too now have to go up against Texan. The full 8 water is now online. Tsunami is here as well alongside Enchanter. I'm torn as to which one to watch here. We've got Axon on here. I imagine Kirito's probably spending the bank to try and get there. An absolute shutdown moment, though, as the Geyser shows up. That is going to imply that Mystic is going to be on the field here. And a Blotto. A beautiful, perfect Blotto. With all the tank augments it could potentially want. This is going to be tough. I imagine this one's going to take a while. It's going to be onto that Sin-Off to try and do some burst damage, but again, you get the Mystics down to half HP, they get more damage, and they get tankier. So getting a blast from the Sin-Off, there's just cooling you off before you really start to heat up, so to speak. You have to burst it, otherwise you will be cooked. And it looks like Kirito, unfortunately, while the team is awesome and a very, very strong team at that, they have run into a brick wall. The Rake will be shut down, the Blotto and the Furiox do finish it off, and with that, it'll just be the Sin-Off in regards to damage, but there is just constant heals. Archo's doing an incredible job, that damn turtle chipping back and healing back everything that's being thrown at it, and we will lose our winner from last week, I think, exactly 0 in this instance. Kirito going to be knocked out in 7th, and we do lose Hunter as well. GG's, everybody. Thank you so much for playing. And I hope you had fun regardless of where you finished. Now, for Zico Perico, they did have a little bit of a win streak going around that 52 HP mark, but now it seems to have fallen apart. Level 9, so I mean, they've got a lot of Illuvials on the board, and a lot of it being actually, a lot of their augments really being pumped into this Fur Knight. Offensively perfect Fur Knight at that, but is this little Empath going to be the ticket needed to be able to get through Badul? Badul has that steam charged Rake coming on through, and heck, this thing's built for utility. It actually has the poison and healing stalling from the augments instead of damage, and that Cuculus is holding the line surprisingly well. But the immunity, because of a 5 Scion chip onto the Rake, does stall things up a little bit. But Badul might actually be running out of tankiness here, and that Polar Bear is still very, very strong. It's going to be able to pull through. The tanky squad coming on out here for Zico Perico will hold the line just a little bit longer. But now we have Badul versus Hector. We have Texan versus Zico Perico. The first slash-in has been found, and it's going over to Thanatos. Now it's just a matter of finding the Malura. They are 2 away, and that is Exodia for the Rogues. We're going to follow along here with Badul. This one I think is going to end quickly. Zico Perico versus Texan. I think that one's going to stall out, so we'll try to hit both. But Badul is going up against Hector. Hector did find the Malura, so they could, in fact, have a little bit more in regards to Vanguard. 3 Vanguards will be online, even though it's a stab-in instead of the slash-in. This one looking very, very devastating here for Hector. Badul might be out of this one unless that Rake has something to say about it. Furiox is doing a pretty decent job as well, pumping out damage from behind, and it looks like, can they blow up that Penguin? Nope, the untargetability is there from the Phase Breaker. Hector will get the win there, but Badul will be out of here. Zico Perico versus Texan. This one's still going because, of course, this is a battle of 2 very, very tanky teams. This does not look good for the side of Zico Perico, though. The big body is still in front. The Gnarl is just sitting there, but that's all it has to do. It's just holding the line beautifully. And with that, we will lose Zico Perico in 5th. We will lose Badul in 6th. GG's, everybody. It was a very, very tough lobby, and you all fought valiantly. Now, this is weird. I thought the 2 rogue players stepping on each other's toes would cause problems for each other. But if anything, this is still 2 rogues leading the charge. Just each of them, oddly enough, have 1 piece ahead of each other. No, they have not found the 1 piece. I heard they're still looking for it. But at least in terms of the Illuvials that you need, Hector's got the Malura. Thanatos still has the slash-in. But Thanatos also has a ramp fight, so that's kind of like the icing on the cake, so to speak. Meanwhile, Nyx and Texan. We're both kind of battling each other for the Furioxes, so the race for the Scoriox is almost just as prominent as the race for the Rogues. So that way, nobody's truly ahead in terms of economy. Hector is probably the furthest ahead in regards to the entire state of the game, because they are level 9. And heck, adding a Fur Knight onto this is just the icing on the cake. But let's take a look and see how Thanatos can do here, going up against Texan. Again, we've got the Vanguards online. There's plenty of damage on this team. But again, it's 2 Vanguard. There's a lot of crits, so getting those Vanguard procs are going to happen very quickly. But you're dealing with Empaths. You're dealing with Mystic. This is a team comp that a lot of people have seen or thought to have been nerfed to the ground in the latest patches. But Mystic did get a little bit of additional help in this patch. Is that enough to turn it around? The slashing is swinging, but it can't get the job done. Thanatos is going to end up falling, and falling rather considerably. There's a lot of Illuvials here. Is that a lot to knock them out from 21 to -3? They're out of here. We'll also see Nyx Hype get taken out here as well. So GG, Thanatos and Nyx. Valiant effort, fantastic battling. This is an incredible game. But now there's only one rogue left. Only Furioxes, or all the Furioxes are back in the pool. But there's not a lot of credits to really go around here. In terms of biggest upgrades, Texan doesn't necessarily have enough to really do anything as of this moment. Meanwhile, 1 dash away here for Hector. Do they sell and try to get the kill shot now? We'll have to see. Let me flip this over. Again, this is a heavy nature Verdant squad. 8 nature, 7 empath mystic with Aegis. Lots of tanky Illuvials coming on through, but at the same time, you've got a lot of Illuvials here on the red side that are completely content with shredding tanks, but they have to be able to hit with it. The stabbing, the Malura, they don't have true sight, so they're going to just get completely cooked by the Blotto as the Blotto smokes up the battlefield. They can't see what they're doing, and that's a massive win. Hector from 59 should not be killed off by this, but that should be a big, big win for Texan. From 59 down to 34. Another loss like that could mean curtains, but do we have enough for an upgrade from Hector? 3 coins to try and get this done. They're not going to be able to find it. A second Furiox coming out here from Texan. They are looking to potentially push forward that Scoriox, but they do not have anything left in the tank. A couple cells later, and sure enough, is this the final piece? The Umber has been found. So you've got that Wraith Strike. You can get into the back line. But how safe can you keep that Umber when the Furiox has true sight? Let's see how it goes. The Umber's in a little bit of an awkward spot, but it might be able to get that Wraith Strike onto the Furiox. First shot does not hit the Furiox, or if it did, it got nothing but shield. Umber is just about to go down. There it goes. Nobody has died from Texan. They stand tall. This is the 8 nature mystical wall as the shields go flying. There is absolutely nothing that the rogues can do to penetrate this. And will that be the end? It will not. There's one more shot. Single digits for both players. This will 100% be the final battle. Everybody's gassed. This is purely a positional game. The beautiful thing about a nature corner composition, though, is it's like a puzzle piece. Once you solve it, once you've got all the pieces in the right spot, you've essentially got what you need. You don't necessarily have to change it. But for these rogues that are missing one of their big carries in the slashing, how can they deal with these big tanky bodies? They're at least going to get rid of the Apon nice and quick and start snowballing that Echo Force reactor onto the stabbing. But again, the Gnarl standing very tall. We see the verdant puddles squeaking on through. Does Hector somehow have an answer? We're seeing a few of these mystics actually fall. but the Umber will fall. The Stabbin now has the Blotto directly on top of it, and with no true sight, no way to find its way out of the smoke, Hector will be cooked, and Texan will win once again here in the Monarch Masters main event for Illuvium Arena House League Week 19. Congratulations, Texan. Awesome, awesome battle. Congratulations to Hector, too. An awesome second place finish right around the corner from potentially scoring that win. But Slashin being contested absolutely threw a wrench into the things. And then absolutely, the Rogue Killer comp, they could not deal with the shields. 7 empaths. We usually do not see that many. Not at all, but the shields coming so consistently while being protected by the 8 nature with the Mystic buff on top of it. Wasn't impenetrable, but it took way too damn long to burst through. So with that, Texan gonna get the win. Hector from Mad Dogs with a fantastic second place finish. Thanatos as well, went for the rogue side of things, got the slash in, but couldn't find the other pieces. Gonna fall in third. Nick's Hype, first time we've seen, and Secret Perico, first time we've seen them in a little bit, and they score a pretty solid run overall, 4th and 5th respectively. Badul went for the very heavy air composition. I like what they were going for, but unfortunately, gonna fall in 6th. Kirito, the water team, just kind of fell a little bit prior to being able to hit those big ticket alluvials. They had the Rip Lance, but the Rip Lance got focused, and that is it there. And then Hunter won the Lynx League, took the bump up, still had a valiant effort. They were fighting up there with the best of them. But we'll round up our top 8, or our final 8 players here. GG's, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Get that all documented here. So again, Hector, 3rd or 2nd. Thanatos. And Texan with the win. Flashbang incoming. All right. So again, Texan with the win. Hector 2nd. Thanatos 3rd. Texan going to be getting 11 packs coming their way. I'll make sure to send it to the right account this time. Sorry about last time, by the way, Texan. We got Hector in 2nd place, a valiant effort with 9 packs coming their way. Thanatos still going to be walking away with 7 alluvial packs here. There is no community rescue for the Monarch Masters. Once you hit Monarch, I imagine you've basically got a full collection at that point. So that's why it doesn't say anything about community rescue. But still, a bunch of alluvials coming on through. And regardless of what you end up doing with it, I hope they make an impact in your adventure one way or another. Nick's Hype with the salt there onto Hector. My goodness. What a disgrace. No, that was a beautiful, beautiful back and forth battle. I know it's in good fun, though. All's good, all's good. But no, that was a very tough squad to beat. And honestly, part of me is happy to see like Mystics implemented into a team and still doing well. I was very worried when Mystics got nerfed super heavily that like there was no way that they could be used at all. But I guess behind an 8 nature team, because we usually see Mystics as a part of Granite or an Earth-based team. But we saw it with nature this time, and maybe that is the puzzle piece that was missing all this time. So good on Texan to be able to pull that one off. But a valiant effort to everybody, of course. And as Awaken talks about it in the chat as well, one more time, because I do believe there is a lot of the audience that watches this that would also be very interested in this, and I want to make sure they do not miss it. So once again, want to hop on over to Discord here. Rich, right before the stream started, actually half hour before, mentioning that the Obelisk Rising closed alpha beta, or the closed alpha test, the play tests, they're coming through sometime very, very soon, and with that, they are taking applications for it. It sounds like it's a rather lengthy application, so make sure you take your time with it. Don't rush it. If you want the opportunity to get a part of this test, that should be happening sometime soon. Make sure you take some time with it. There are 2 phases to this, where one is more so in the range of just finding the bugs, but then there's going to be a bigger test where more people are added into the play test. and we get to do stuff like trying out the raids, for instance, the dungeons, and of course trying out the game, getting our first glimpses at it since the last playtest that happened like very, very early in 2026. So make sure you do this, obeliskrising.com. There is the link as well in the Discord. If you're watching this after we are live, I'll make sure to have this in the description as well. So that way it's quick and easy. Make sure you can hop on and do it. And I will say this, though. I want to give the caveat to this because somebody had actually messaged me about this. And I want to talk about it. So if the Obelisk Rising playtest does come out and it is streamable, I am still going to dedicate Friday to House League. 100%. For the rest of the week, who knows what it'll end up being if we are allowed to stream the playtest. But if it is out, I still want to do House League. Just because Obelisk Rising is out does not mean the events stop here. And even when Obelisk Rising is released, I still want this to be the case. It's not a matter of Obelisk Rising is here, so we get rid of Illuvium and we take a look at the shiny new toy. No, Obelisk Rising is here. Let's keep playing Illuvium as a whole. And Arena is still just as important, even when Obelisk Rising is a thing. And I'm going to definitely stand by that. I will not allow for one game to completely dwarf another. There's going to be obviously more attention towards Obelisk Rising, and I would do a ton of streaming if it was doable. But I do not wish to completely exclude Arena. So keep that in mind. If the playtests do go live and streams are happening, you can still take solace knowing if you enjoy Illuvium Arena House League, well, it will still continue to happen. I can promise you that much. And we can go party dungeon content if I get the test. Hey, I'm saying this right here right now. There's a reason I haven't aligned myself with the team, because if you need a freelance healer, give me a shout. I'm probably right there. As long as there is an actual healer class in Illuvium's Obelisk Rising, because the last time we did the playtest, there was just Water Scion, and that didn't necessarily play like a proper healer, if that makes sense. But again, that was a long time ago, and there's been a lot of input and a lot of changes, I imagine. So I look forward to seeing what the changes look like. My first playthrough for a playtest, if I get the opportunity to do it, would be with the healer. So you'll be able to see it all from, or you'll hear it from me. If I get the opportunity to stream it, you'll see it from me. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I want to make sure that anybody can give me a shout. I don't want any sort of exclusivity with anybody. Going into next week, the schedule will be a little bit different. Monday, I do need to take off. I do have some late afternoon appointments that would absolutely collide with my stream time. So our first stream for next week will be on Tuesday. We will hop into the Illuvium Arena one way or another. Haven't exactly figured out how I want to do it just yet. Whether it's showcasing a specific Illuvial or whether it's just a tryhard day. We'll see. Tuesdays, I usually like to have some sort of stipulation if I'm playing some ranked. So, one way or another, we'll be there. And of course, I'll do my final callouts here at the very, very end. I'm trying my damnedest to just build this channel exclusively off of Illuvium, so it would mean the world to me if you're enjoying yourself here and you're enjoying Illuvium at the same time, and you want to come hang out a little bit more. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel on your way out, because I would absolutely love to be able to continue to grow this, and it gets my content out onto the YouTube algorithm just a little bit more, and maybe we can find some more of those players that are just fed up with what the kind of crap that Pokemon's been giving us. And I'm very, very thankful to see that Pokemon's world's getting shaken up a little bit now that Palworld's having some success. But with Palworld having success, that proves to me there is room for more competition in the creature capture space, which means Obelisk Rising, Illuvium, there are people that want this, and I want to go for the ride, regardless of how long the ride is, or if it ends or not. Nonetheless, we'll ride all the way till the end. Whew. It was an awesome day. Big thank you again to everybody for competing as well, and for those just tuning in and hanging out with us. Y'all mean the world to me, and I thank you so much for that. But I will close things out for now. Thank you all one more time. I'll catch you on Tuesday for the next one.